we are just starting to get a look at documents that have been released by the Justice Department just a few minutes ago. This is the audio and the transcript from the jailhouse interview with Jeffrey Epstein's convicted...
However, they are no longer on speaking terms, and the reason for the fallout has remained one of fashion's most tight...
What it's going to be. And Meghan, very foolishly, I might add, gave away a huge...
What if I told you the most devastating weapon in the Meghan Markle saga isn't a leaked document or court filing? It's the calculated deployment of silence? While everyone's obsessing over alleged CVs and adult games, they're missing the real masterclass in reputation warfare unfolding right before our eyes. This isn't about scandal. It's about watching a convicted insider weaponize uncertainty from behind bars.
Information about Epstein out there after the Justice Department earlier.
Forget everything you think you know about prison confessions and celebrity takedowns. This is a different battlefield entirely. On one side, you have Ghislaine Maxwell serving 20 years, suddenly breaking her silence after years of strategic quiet. On the other, Meghan Markle, building a 9-figure lifestyle empire while navigating post-royal existence. But here's what nobody's discussing. This isn't Maxwell versus Meghan. It's Maxwell versus time, relevance, and the federal justice system. The Duchess? She's just collateral damage in a much larger game. Maxwell understands something most people don't. In the attention economy, you don't need proof to destroy someone. You just need proximity and patience. And from her cell, she's orchestrating a textbook case of asymmetric warfare.
She's proposing an idea, the power of yet, which is just a kind of blind optimism that...
The strategic miscalculation everyone's making is treating this like a typical celebrity scandal. They think Maxwell's playing checkers, throw dirt, grab headlines, maybe reduce a sentence. But she's playing three-dimensional chess. Consider the timing. Maxwell doesn't randomly start talking after years of silence. She waits until Meghan's lifestyle brand launches, until American Riviera Orchard needs pristine reputation management, until every Instagram post represents millions in potential revenue. That's not coincidence. That's precision.
Of luxuriating in the power of yet, they were gripped in the tyranny of now.
It's not.
The genius move? Maxwell never actually produces the document. She doesn't need to. By merely suggesting its existence, she creates what strategists call a permanent question mark. Every journalist now has to ask about it. Every brand partnership includes a risk assessment. Every PR meeting starts with contingency planning. Maxwell has essentially installed a virus in Meghan's operating system without providing any actual evidence. Think about the economics here. It costs Maxwell nothing to make these claims from prison, but it costs Meghan everything to defend against them. Legal consultations, crisis management, brand protection, the meter's running on multiple fronts. Maxwell has turned her imprisonment into an offensive position. She can't lose what she's already lost, but Meghan has an empire to protect.
Tucker event about an hour and a half ago about Epstein documents, and he commented on that, and he said, I told Pam, meaning Attorney General Bondi and others, to get as much information out as possible, but he said, I'm afraid that it might ruin some people's...
Now watch how the other players respond, because that's where the real education begins. Meghan's team chooses silence. Conventional wisdom says that's smart. Don't feed the story. But Maxwell counted on that. Silence in the modern information ecosystem doesn't kill stories. It creates vacuums that speculation fills. Every day without a response is another day the algorithm serves up theories.
A statement, and he basically said that DOJ put out its first production of Epstein documents related to the subpoena, but that's going to take a long time before they put that up.
Meanwhile, the justice system plays its part perfectly. By sealing documents, judges think they're protecting victims. In reality, they're creating the perfect conditions for rumor proliferation. Maxwell knew this would happen. Sealed documents suggest hidden truths. Redacted pages imply explosive content. She's using the system's own protective mechanisms as weapons.
Ghislaine Maxwell victims, Martha.
Yeah, this is very interesting, David. Thank you very much. And we'll let you continue to pour through these. We're looking through these documents as we speak. As Jim Trusty, former federal prosecutor, get his thoughts on the early release of this. Or the
most brilliant manipulation? How Maxwell frames everything through victim advocacy. She positions herself as finally telling her truth, seeking justice, protecting others. This isn't revenge, it's revelation. She's not attacking, she's exposing. By wrapping her actions in the language of justice, she makes criticism of her tactics seem like defending the powerful. Virginia Giuffre's legal team suggesting Meghan could provide testimony? That's not random. That's orchestrated pressure from multiple angles. Create enough smoke from enough directions, and people assume there's fire. The coordination here isn't conspiracy, it's strategy. Each participant has their own interests, but Maxwell understands how to align them temporarily against a common target.
But thus, we'll never use any of your words against you in any sort of prosecution. Again, very unlikely that there's going to be a new prosecution of her. But that's kind of a typical thing. They call it Queen for the Day immunity. And that's what she received to get this conversation going in the first place. And, it seems like a lot of it's probably going to be...
Here's where the psychological warfare gets truly sophisticated. Maxwell isn't targeting Meghan's present. She's poisoning her future. Every brand considering partnership now has to factor in reputational risk. Every podcast guest wonders what might surface. Every investor questions stability. Maxwell has effectively increased Meghan's cost of doing business without proving a single allegation. The phrase playing the adult game, that's linguistic genius. Specific enough to damage, vague enough to avoid legal consequence. It forces Meghan into an impossible position. Deny it, and you're giving it oxygen. Ignore it, and you're implying guilt. Explain it, and you're legitimizing the conversation. Maxwell has created what military strategists call a no-win scenario. But the real psychological mastery is how Maxwell exploits our fundamental need for narrative completion. Humans can't tolerate unfinished stories. By introducing these allegations without resolution, she's created an itch the public can't scratch. Every new Meghan appearance, every product launch, every Instagram post gets viewed through this lens of incompleteness. What isn't she telling us? What's being hidden? The effectiveness compounds over time. Unlike a direct attack that peaks and fades, this creates persistent background radiation. Meghan can't have a normal news cycle anymore. Every story includes a paragraph about amid ongoing allegations. Maxwell has essentially installed herself as a permanent footnote in Meghan's narrative. That's not accidental. That's architectural. So who's actually winning this game? Surface level, it looks like mutual destruction. But examine the real outcomes. Maxwell transforms from forgotten prisoner to relevant player. She goes from yesterday's scandal to today's headline. In prison currency, attention is everything, and she's generated more in a few weeks than in years of silence. The federal system? They get what they always wanted, leverage. Maxwell talking means potential cooperation. Information flow means possible sentence reduction. By letting these stories emerge, they're reminding everyone they still hold cards. The timing with Trump's document declassification isn't coincidental. It's choreographed. But here's the brutal truth nobody wants to acknowledge. Meghan was always going to lose this confrontation. Not because the allegations are true, truth is irrelevant here, but because she has everything to lose while Maxwell has nothing. It's the same dynamic that makes blackmail effective. The person with reputation, money, and status is always vulnerable to the person with nothing left to sacrifice. The real winner? The system itself. These conflicts reinforce existing power structures. They remind celebrities that proximity to scandal has permanent consequences. They teach outsiders that challenging institutions comes with costs. Maxwell and Meghan are just pieces on a board neither of them controls. The game was always bigger than both of them.